and welcome to our annual Art from the Hills District Art Show. My name is Penny Ellis, and I'm the art teacher at Conant Elementary. We are so excited to be with all of you, our library friends, the Bloomfield Hills students, the parents, our board members, our administrators, and of course our art colleagues. Thank you so much for coming out to celebrate the hard work, dedication, and talents of our wonderful Bloomfield Hills art students. We are celebrating them as we celebrate this community, the Bloomfield Hills community that embraces the visual arts. That means we are celebrating each and every one of you tonight. This is a community which understands that the arts are a valuable part of the human experience. The arts have the power to transform both communities and individuals. When and where art thrives, the human experience thrives. And I know many of you have seen how the arts have transformed urban areas like Philadelphia with its mural arts program, or Miami's Wynwood community. Community and art cannot be separated. Why is this? Why does the presence of art have this power? I think it's because art connects people. And people have the need to connect with one another. And this goes back to prehistoric times with the art of the cave dwellers. So what is it within us that makes us want to create? Why do our kids want to take art here in Bloomfield Hills? Well, Psychology Today describes the research of Dr. Kelly Lambert, who found out that creating things with our hands enhances mental health and actually makes us happy. Her research showed that working with our hands satisfies a primal need to make things. And when we do not make things and instead use devices and screens, we are actually depriving ourselves of the processes that provide pleasure, meaning, and pride. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't use technology. Obviously, great things and great art can be accomplished on screens, but Dr. Lambert found that making with our hands is essential to our emotive state, and that it gives us a sense of well-being and the ability to relieve stress, anxiety, and even depression. I think you already have a sense that this is true, right? I know you've all experienced that lovely feeling when you lose all sense of time. Time just passes by, you're like, oh, wow, I was involved with something with my hands. I was working on a project, and I just completely lost all track of time, and it feels really good to do that. Our world needs more of this, not less. So this is why we celebrate the transformative power of art in our community as a transformation of our well-being. We have much to celebrate because we embrace, support, and encourage our children in the arts. By celebrating tonight, you are actually contributing to our future. So I'd like to now introduce some very special people who are all about contributing to our future. First of all, I don't know if she's in the room, but Carol Mueller is our library director. Are you here, Carol? Yay, she's here. Every year, she opens up this lovely facility, and she is the most gracious hostess ever, allowing us to take over and use this space to enjoy the art. She also has her assistant, Tara Moon, who is also very helpful and lovely and warm and welcoming. I'd also like to extend some big thank yous to our student harpists, Julia Russo and Emily Sun. They did such a lovely job on the art. And of course, a big round of applause. Well, this is kind of for me too, so I'll just duck. But my distinguished art teacher colleagues, they put in a lot of time and effort to make this happen. And now I'd like to introduce one of the most very, very special people in this room right now, who comes and supports the arts in our community and in our schools, probably more than anybody. He's our biggest cheerleader, our very own superintendent of Bloomfield Hills Schools, Dr. Robert Glass.
you, Penny. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Great to see you. How inspiring is this? This room just filled with community, as Penny talked about. Students, if your artwork is on display here, raise your hand. Big kudos to you. You've brightened all of our days just today. You've really picked us all up and inspired us today. And parents, for all the support that you have given to your children, encouraging them in the arts, raise your hands. Parents, kudos to you as well. And again, as was indicated, I really want to thank Bloomfield Township Public Library, Carol Mueller and her staff for hosting this every year, but more than that, being a partner in our community for our youth and for our families. Thank you once again to them. So as I just, was remarking, how inspired I'm feeling. You know that feeling that you get that maybe comes at you out of nowhere? You're not necessarily expecting it. Let me give you a little analogy, a little experience I recently had. So I'm dangerous when it comes to growing things. I can scarcely, plant a flower on my back patio and have it grow. But my wife and I had an opportunity this year to experience a community garden plot at Bowers Farm. And so we took that opportunity, and we as soon as the weather warmed up a couple weekends ago, right early in May, we decided to go in there and start getting a handle on it. And when we did, I experienced something I didn't understand. And it was the fact that the peace and the experience of being there, seeing the horses all around, seeing the sheep and the other animals kind of wandering around, of meeting neighbors in the garden plot next door, of sticking my hands in the soil, not knowing what I was doing, but being okay with that. That was an experience I didn't see coming. Like I thought, I think I can pull this garden thing off. I'm gonna have to really think it through. I'm gonna have to plan it. I'm gonna wade in and experience it. And I can't describe to you how different the actual experience has been thus far, but it's been deeper and different and something I can't explain, something that isn't logical, but it's part of that experience. And I trust that all of you through life know what it's like to have that moment of inspiration, that moment where everything is right with the world, that you didn't see coming, but it came from doing, not by just observing, right? Not by just watching others, but by diving in and doing. And so a name who's well known to educators, Abraham Maslow, he said this. He said, musicians must make music, artists must paint, poets must write if they are ultimately to be at peace with themselves. What humans can be, they must be. There's something in us that's born to have these kinds of experiences, and we recognize that here in Bloomfield Hills Schools. We recognize that there's so much richness to learning, to teaching, that goes beyond just what we think of as academics, which are certainly very important, but much more than those more traditional classroom experiences. We know that our students are born to do what they're born to do, and they won't know that until they've had that experience, until they put their hands on the clay, until they've picked up a brush, until they've picked up an instrument, until they've experienced something that they were willing to try, and until we've given them the permission to explore that. All of this art that you see didn't happen on the first try. It happened after an experience and an inspiration that drew them in to sharpen their skills. And so as I'm winding to a close, I want to thank especially all of our art educators who are here, who helped make that possible, who helped hone those skills, who helped draw those students into that experience. Thank you to our Bloomfield Hills art educators. And lastly, I'll leave you with this quote that means a lot to me, because I hope it stays with you and it stays with our youth here today. Every child is an artist. The problem is to remain one as we grow up. and that was Pablo Picasso. Let's remain those artists, let's remain in that space, and let's let these students guide us into the future. Thank you very much. And there's no one coming after me, so I guess that's it. Thank you very much. Enjoy the art.